For orders and for projects, we have a different scenario as compared to the sales order or billing. Now, how it is different? In case of orders or projects, the very first thing that we need to understand or consider is that orders or projects are nothing but an object in itself. That is, like, they are one of the objects of controlling. Since they are an objects of controlling, they have a tenacity of, or rather a capability of settling the data from their own self to other. When I say that they have a capability in terms of settling the data from their own self to the other, by this statement I mean that the orders or the projects can be settled to COPA 2. Let us talk in brief about the scenario where this is going to happen. Say for example, I want to have my project level data visible in COPA. Since I track all my project related data through creation of WBA structure under a project, and those WBA structure under a project are routed through sales order for billing, and also are routed through purchase order for booking the cost. Everything in terms of revenue and cost are being placed at a project level. Now I want to put across all these project data and dump it to COPA, so that in COPA I can have an overall view of the revenue and cost for all these projects. In order to do so, one of the important thing that I have to do is I need to settle all the revenues and cost from the projects to COPA. This happens by assigning a settlement rule in the project or in the orders. These settlement rules will have receiver objects as profitability segment, or as we say, profitability analysis. When we are going to settle it, obviously for sure we are going to predefine the characteristics based on which we are going to settle the relevant values, and then the settlement is going to happen. Now, will the settlement be a one line item or a multiple line item? This completely depends upon the way we are looking at settling it. In order to understand this part more better and more precise, let us go inside the config and see what I am exactly referring to. So it's define profitability analysis transfer structure. The moment I go inside it, you will find that there are several structures being created for PA. If you see, there are structures which are related to projects, there are structures which are related to production variances, there are structures again which are related to financial accounting. So there are several structures that are being created. Again, as you must have understood so far, all these notes like the order and project settlements, direct entries or postings from FI and MM, production variances settlement. All these notes are going to take you to this particular setting itself. That means that the settings are going to govern in this particular page, in this particular screen, for all the scenarios and all the stuff we had discussed. Now let us one by one understand what is the kind of setting that we are doing over here, and how those line items which are going to get settled from one object to COPA will get divided or will get reported based on different, you can say, or based on a segregation of those line item into multiple items when it comes to COPA. Let's take a complete case of project settlement. Say I am taking a structure which is 30. So here we go, we have taken a structure 30 and we are going to go to assignment line. What is this assignment line? Logically, this assignment line is the only thing based on which we are going to divide our settlement into different heads, or rather different information notes. Like if there are certain revenue items which I need to identify separately, I can have a assignment line mentioning revenue. If I have a material cost, then I can have it defined over here as a separate line item to identify the material cost. I can, if I have say other variable cost, I can have the same defined over here. If I have labor cost, if I have say other manufacturing cost, any miscellaneous cost, all these different kinds of cost, deductions, all the line items can be defined separately over here, so that those can be created in COPA under different value fields. As a result, you can simply say the number of value fields that we have established to report all those value fields should be logically one of the assignment line item. Even the quantities could be the assignment line items over here. Let's now understand that how we are going to flow or pass on the values for these line items from the sense of settlement. Let's select, say, revenue item itself and go to the source field. And the source field, there are two things to understand. What are those? The very first thing is that the moment we talk about material, labor, other costs, miscellaneous cost, other manufacturing cost, finance cost, typically depreciation cost, anything, or revenue, discounts, all these stuff, all these are the posting that must have happened to those projects or to those orders. And if these are the posting that has happened to those projects or those orders, for sure these must have happened through certain cost elements. Yes, we are hitting on the concept, or rather on the logic of now accounting based COPA, but at the same parallel level we are trying to even be you can say we are trying to rather identify those things at a group level and not at an individual line item level. What I mean to refer is, suppose a very interesting thing which you will find in this setup is that the way we generate or rather post the revenues might belong to multiple GLs. Like we can have revenue from multiple products or multiple segments or multiple business, or you can say multiple line items, and as a result that can from reporting angle or from tracking angle be pushed to multiple GLs. Those all GLs can be grouped and can be tagged against this particular assignment called revenue, or if those are in a range bound manner or are in a particular cost element for part, so those can be put across as a from and to option stating the particular cost element. If you check the group will list down all the applicable cost elements that are required to consider for revenue postings when it comes to COPA reporting. Again, one very basic important thing is that if the same is getting done, we should ensure that the option of cost/revenue is being ticked. We should not tick on the variance option or on the account indicator option. It should always be ticked on the cost/revenue option. This is where we identify the source. Similarly, those sources are always being mapped and linked to the value fields. The value fields are the COPA value fields. If you check carefully, there are two options that you will get. One would be in terms of quantity and the other would be in terms of value. There would be again three options that you will get in order to ensure that what is the kind of transfer that you are looking for, and those are either you are looking for transferring a fixed amount or variable amount or a combination of both. Again, putting across three is the suitable option always, and then putting up your value field, that is which is the value field in which you are going to transfer the particular related information. So if I go back and try to link things for my assignment line revenue, there is a group of cost element that I link up to my COPA value field. Sounds good? Now, whenever a particular WBS or say project is getting settled, system for all those cost elements which are a part of this group, if finds any line item in that particular project, will consider those and will flow it from there to COPA under the value field revenue in COPA, which is VV140. Just to add up one more thing, if there is a particular field which is quantity based like the quantity billed or delivered, something of that sort, then for sure the tick will not be to the source assigned and value fields, but rather to the quantity field. Rather I will say the tick will be in the quantity field and to for sure and to the other fields from where the source and the values would be taken. But whenever there is a situation of whenever there is a situation that we are talking about the cost and revenue, we are not having a tick or putting across any tick in this column, which is quantity billed and all. But if we are looking at the quantities, then only we will have a tick in this quantity billed option, and for sure we will tag it to the value fields, because obviously when it comes to source term there are no cost elements to determine the quantities. It is only that system will take up the default quantity billed and delivered item from the project and settle it to the value field. This is the part from project. Again, assignment of project structure to settlement profile is pretty much simple. Any settlement profile whichsoever I create, like suppose if I have a settlement profile which is say let us not take any standard one, but say I have this settlement profile which is of this is again a production order, which would be a wrong example. Let me check something which is to do with a project. So say I have this PS01 and I need to have my PS structure for it. I can assign the relevant PS structure as 30, or as the case over here is of E1, whichsoever is applicable to it, and based on the assigned PS structure, system will start flowing the data. Do remember, you also need to define the allocation structure. Without the definition of allocation structure system will not flow the data at the time of settlement from COPA to projects, from projects to COPA. This is for the order. Now let us come to the direct posting from FI or MM, and trust me, you are going to go back to the same screen with no difference. As you see, again let us take over here the example of FI. You are going to again find the similar kind of screens, and you are going to again find the similar kind of assignments which we discussed so far in terms of projects. The only thing which I would like to mention over here is that this particular node is getting used for scenarios where the cost is completely finance related and the posting is happening at a JV level. I mean, you put across a particular JV, or you put across a particular posting in finance related to miscellaneous expenses, foreign exchange gain or loss, certain kind of finance expenses, which is completely generic and completely a common cost in nature, not specific to any order, customer, project, etc. A very important thing is the account assignment, default account assignment. Do understand and remember that any posting that I want directly to flow from finance to COPA, I should assign the cost element for those to my profitability segment. And in order to assign them, this is the way to do. Put across your company code, put across your cost element, and give a tick to profitability segment. If you don't do so, that means profitability segment will not be active to transfer the cost at the time of those JV bookings, or rather at the time of those FI specific postings. So you need to make sure that this particular setup is in place for the cost elements, or for the cost actually, to be precise, for the cost elements which are getting posted from FI and to be flown to COPA. Let's come to settlement of production variance, and this would be the last topic to cover when it comes to the actual flows. I will take you through the overheads and obviously the customer rebates and the transfer price and period and adjustment part, but those would be the advanced topic which I will take in the next session. Let us come back to the production variance. So again, in production variance, if you go and see it precisely, you will get the same screen. What would be the difference? There is a difference, and what that difference is, let us see and understand that out. Now I am going this time to a particular case of my production variance. So I am taking a case of E1. Let me go to the assignment line with E1, and you will see all the different kinds of variance that I normally assign in my COPC, which is my product costing. May it be price variance, mix variance, quantity variance, in terms of production of material, resource variance, input variance, output variance, lot size variance. I mean, all those variance can be mapped over here right away. What I do next is the second thing. Yes, again the assignment lies the same. That means I'm going to put across a group of cost element which is impacting each of these variance under product cost controlling. But what different I'm going to do is that I'm going to now put a tick not to cost and revenue but to the variance on production order, and is going to choose the applicable variance category for my assignment line item. Like for my price variance, it is PRIV that I have chosen. Again, to be completely clear on the thing, we can have these many line items, and normally you will find these many line items only getting created to have one-to-one correlation between the the variance categories and the flow through the assignment lines. So if you see, for the assignment lines of price, it is input price variance that is being assigned, and it has these many list of cost elements that could be considered for your variance flow. Again, what we do is normally we let us take a reasoning and logic behind it. All the cost which is applicable to compute the product cost would be considered for variance. So basically we club all the GLs under a group of product cost and create a group in that name and assign it to all the line items. Let's go and check for scrap. You will find the same group. It's exactly the same group with might be a small bit of increase or decrease, but for other cases like say quantities, again the production cost group, because it is production specific, so again it might vary, but normally we can do in this way also, that we assign the same group for the entire set. You see, like there is a reputation also, so we can assign the same group with all the cost and have a tag to variance, and finally put it to the value field of the variance that we have created in COPA. How does this helps? This helps in the following way. When we calculate the variance in COPA during the month end, system detects the applicable variance based on the variance category. Now those variance out of the complete bunch of list of costs that we have considered in the cost element gets considered and gets passed on, or rather pushed to COPA for reporting of variance. So at the time of variance calculation, whatever is the amount in terms of different variance categories are being considered, putting up in mind that all the costs relevant to it is being taken care or is being considered. That is why we mention the topmost nodes, or rather all the applicable cost for those assignments in the cost element group, and then we flow the data to the COPA over here through the assignment. Again, as far as setup is concerned, after this similar way we are going to go to the settlement profile, and we need to assign the particular you can say a particular transfer PA transfer structure to the settlement profile that we are going to use. And this is again important and compulsory to be done. Once this is done, that means my flow in terms of cost, right from orders or right from goods delivery or any common cost from finance has been pushed to COPA. My revenue and my any other items related to revenue from billing or from order has been pushed to COPA, and as a result now I have enough analytical data in COPA to have reportings. Obviously there are certain important line items like overheads or say rebates or say period and adjustments items which are also critical and we will take, but by and large the points which we have covered or discussed so far are the ones those are going to govern my complete COPA reporting. Let's take up the rest of the points for flow of actual values in the next class or next session. Thank you for your time. See you.